When it comes to lighting for your videos, there are so many options. Even in the budget realm of under $100, it can be overwhelming. But I think there's one shining example that is a bright spot above the rest. My name is Tom, this is The Enthusiasm Project, and today we are gonna take a not sponsored look at what I think is the best non-key light you can get for under $100. And I am talking about the Aputure MC. We're gonna skip right to the end of this review. I'm gonna spoil everything, and then we'll go back and fill in the finer details. What I mean when I say that I think this is the best non-key light you can get for under $100 is exactly that. I don't think this would be a great main key light. It's just not big enough. It's just not quite bright enough. And if you don't have a key light already, in the sub $100 range, there are a lot of options that will make a huge difference. Of course, you kind of get what you pay for, but for a long time, I actually used an $85 fluorescent light that I found on Amazon. I made an entire video about it, so if you want to check that out, that is a great place to start if you don't have any dedicated video lights. Once you've got your key light, your main light set up, and you're looking to get a fill light or an accent light or an effect light or to round out a lighting setup, that's where I don't think there's really anything better than this on the market. It usually sells for about $90. So you get a light that is incredibly well built. It has wireless charging, it has USB regular charging, it's super bright, the quality of light is great, it's an RGB light so it can do all the colors of the rainbow. It has an app that's actually very, very helpful and has some very cool features that we'll go into. It's got an onboard display that will let you see your battery level, your color temperature, and some of your basic settings. It comes with a diffuser that actually works, and it comes with a USB charging cable. Of course, it also comes with a little pouch, which is shockingly rugged, although I don't know how much you'll actually end up using this. I might use it as a case for my Rode Wireless Go because it's kind of the perfect size for all that stuff. And the back of it has two super strong magnets, which mean your mounting options are almost limitless with this thing. It's got about a 2-hour battery life, and you can actually run it off of USB-C power, either from a wall outlet or even from a battery pack. So tons of versatility, lots of options. I'd almost recommend having a couple of these and not just one. So let's talk about some of the basic features of the Aputure MC. You've got some controls built right in. On one side, you've got the USB-C charging port, you've got the power switch, and you also have your menu dial, which is a scroll wheel and a button. And that's really how you navigate through the menus on the light itself. On the top, it does have a small LCD panel that lets you see the information that you need, and on the bottom there is a 1/4-20 mount so you can attach it to tripods, light stands. If you take this light and you pair it with a little tripod like the Manfrotto Pixie, you end up with a really nice little lighting setup that you can position however you want it for whatever you're filming or taking photos of. And it does have wireless charging. I found that it works just fine with the wireless charger I use for my iPhone XR, and of course it charges a little bit faster if you use the actual USB-C port. As I said, it does come with a diffuser, which is pretty interesting. So lots of lights, sub $100 or even over, come with some kind of diffuser, like my older Aputure light comes with this plastic panel that's supposed to act as a diffuser. But while it does kind of diffuse the light a bit, it still is gonna give you some pretty harsh shadows. This is the first time I've ever seen a small light with a diffuser that actually works. And the reason for it, the light is thin, the diffuser is thick, so when the light is in the diffuser, it's not up against it like this. It's actually just like a softbox on a bigger light. The light source is away from the front, and it has more room to kind of be diffused and spread out. This is also very thick material that diffuses the light. Worth noting, it does actually diminish the brightness pretty considerably, so it makes the light not as bright when you're using the diffuser, but the quality of light is excellent and you end up with this really nice soft light. And when you've got the diffuser on, you still have access to the LCD screen, you still have access to all the buttons, and you still have access to the 1/4-20 mount. So it doesn't limit any of the functionality of the light, which I love. And even though I said you wouldn't want to use this as your main key light, it can function as a key light in a pinch. So if you're traveling, if you're at a convention, if you're doing an interview somewhere and you just need a key light because things are a little dark, this will work and it will get the job done. But if you're setting up like your video studio or your home studio, you definitely want a bigger light as your main key light. Now I did mention there are some built-in effects, so I can navigate through those to some of the different settings here. There's a faulty bulb, which could be great for like a horror movie or something. A lot of these effects are actually based on flashing lights, and I'm super sensitive to flashing lights, so I kind of stay away from them. There's a lightning setting, which is essentially a strobe light. It's too bright for me to look at, too intense for me to look at. Don't want to see it, don't want to see the lightning. There we go. There's a party. I don't know, I guess it's a party, you know how parties are. There's a cop car setting, which actually is probably one of the more useful ones. There's a fire setting, which is fire because it actually works really, really well. So you have a lot of versatility. I'm not a narrative filmmaker, but I think that if you are like an indie filmmaker, especially, those little effects could really come in handy and might be one of the reasons why it could be a good idea to actually have a couple of these lights in your kit. Now, as I mentioned, there is an app which unlocks some of the functionality on here. The functions of the app, I think, are terrific. You can do some super cool stuff with it. The app is called Sidus Link, so if you go to the App Store and you search for Aputure, you're not gonna find much. You have to create an account to be able to use it, which is kind of annoying to me. I don't wanna create an account just to make my light blue. But regardless, once you get into it, it kind of works. You can set up different scenes. If you've ever used like Philips Hue bulbs and you've set up your scenes and stuff with that, it kind of works the same way. So you can pre-program stuff, which just speeds things up when you need it. If you want to add a light, you can just click on your scene, tap the green plus sign, and once your light is turned on, it should show up, and then it pairs in just a few seconds. So it's a pretty simple process. And then once you've got your light paired, you have full control over everything. You can change the color temperature right from within the app. You can turn it on full brightness, half brightness, quarter brightness, and of course anything in between that you want. You can do quick changes for color temperature. You can even go in and dial things in a little more finely than you can just on the light itself. You can even add gels like CTB and CTO from within here, and full, quarter, half. So there's a lot of flexibility built right into this app. You can play, of course, with the colors. So if you just quickly want to see your colors, you can just decide, I want whichever color, and put the light right there and change the intensity. My favorite part of the app though, which I think is actually pretty helpful, is this picker. So if you go into the color picker, you can actually use the camera on your phone to choose which color the light is gonna be. So I have like the little aperture pouch. If I go to this red and I wanna pick up aperture red, now the light has aperture red. It's a little overexposed in this shot, but in person, they actually match really, really well. If I like the blue on my watch band, there we go. Now it matches my watch. So if you think of lighting design, set design, product photography, there's a lot of really cool flexibility built in here. If this were the product that I were filming, being able to match this red is awesome. If someone was doing an interview with me and they wanted to pull all the blue that I normally wear and put that in the background as a color splash, they could get the exact shade of blue that matches what I like. And that is pretty darn cool. It's also pretty cool for effects and more creative design. So for example, I've been experimenting lately with using a computer display as a background for some product photography. So having the product in front of the display kind of showing some colors and textures, and then using that just as a really dynamic background. What's fun is to use colored accent lighting for that product, but instead of just a random color, if I have kind of a yellowish background, and then I can select that exact shade of yellow on the light and have that reflecting on the product from the other side, it works really well. I use this a lot. And of course, if you're somebody who's into visual effects, this can be a really fun tool, because if you're doing green screen work and someone is watching a fire or looking at something, having that same color actually reflecting on them in person while you're filming is a great way to merge the digital and the practical together and create a more realistic final result. So in the end, who is this light for? Well, like I said, it's for somebody who wants to build up their video lighting kit and already has a main key light. If you're looking for a second, third, 10th light, this is definitely the way to go. In fact, you could probably get a bunch of these and not even notice the extra weight in your bag because it's pretty light. It's a pretty light. That was my attempt at a terrible pun. It probably was not delightful.